Good evening, everybody. Elizabeth Diamond here for the Diamonds Network. The Thursday show with Cynthia, Marianne, and Mayor. They're going to be talking about the new moon coming up here at the beginning of this week. They'll talk more about it. So sit back, fasten your seatbelts. We've been having some really awesome shows. You know, all the shows are surprises as we collectivize and learn who we really are. This last Monday's show, it's up on the YouTube channel and the Diamonds blog, and we talked about the free energy release and more for the world, the Keshe Foundation. Oh, you got to catch that show. And there's more on galactizing on that show. Tuesday's show was Voices from the Alternative World, continuing with talking about community and community living, and we're going on to a different subject next week. I think vegan nutrition, vegan diet. And then Wednesday, oh my God, last night, brilliant Candy Shop Candy asked a question. We went with Chris. Chris was the guest, and we took a trip to the Pentagon, Washington, D.C. last night, and took all out the bad guys in the Pentagon. And wait till you hear what they were going to try to do, but can't do it now. So be sure to listen to that show. The link's up on the blog. So the blog is diamonds with an S forever 31.blogspot.com. Be sure to give energy back in kind if you've listened to the show a few times. You know, looking for monthly benefactors, whatever you can. It will surely help. We're up to something. This Diamonds Network, we're always up to something. So thank you for that. The donation button's on the right side of the blog. So, and on the 26th is the blueprint release for the Keshe Foundation for the free energy machines. You can build them yourself. We'll be talking a little bit about that on the Monday show and more. So stay tuned, and I'll turn it over to Marianne, Cynthia, and Mayor. I love you, sisters. Shine bright, diamonds. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Oh, reference number 303 tonight, 303 pound on the recorded line. The new recorded line is on top of the blog. And same pin and reference 303 pound tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. How am I coming in? Pretty good? Hello?
Speak up a little bit.
Hi. I'm coming in okay?
Yeah, just a little bit. Speak up a little more.
Okay, thank you.
That sounds fairly good. What do you think, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you're coming in pretty good.
Okay, this is good. Thank you. I am going to play Cynthia's music, angel music, to bring us into the call, and it is called Ecstasy of Seven. And here it is. Sit back and relax. Thank you, people. We'll be right back. And we are back. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming tonight. This is Marianne, your host. I'm here with Cynthia and Mare. And first off, before I give the rundown on the call, again, I want to thank Liz, Elizabeth, and the Diamond family for all that you do and all that we do. I want to thank you, Liz, Lily, Candy, Chris, Cynthia, Mare. Thank you so
Sunny
much.
and Dale.
Sunny and Dale. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, Elizabeth. I also want to thank the Galactics, who definitely are listening to this call. And I want to thank you who are on the line tonight for coming to the call. A couple days ago, Cynthia sent out an email that showed a short video of Dr. Keshe talking about a second sun recently appearing. And it is a twin planet to our Earth. It was a little foreboding, but Cynthia then sent out an amazing article which described how this planet was protected in 1972. I've read this article on our call, and during her talk, she's going to talk about the video and talk about the article. And we believe that we are protected. We definitely are protected. We will be protected. And this planet is just going to do amazing things, and all the people here. And it is a focal point. So we also were going to state the law of one in regards to all this. And then Cynthia, myself, and Mare will talk about the full moon configuration. And we're going to reference the angel messages, and we're going to be reading them. And then we're going to talk about what the messages mean to us. And then we are definitely opening lines up so that if anyone has any questions or any comments, y'all can come in and we can share. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this call over to Cynthia and Mare, and I also will be on, but thank you so much. Cynthia?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. If you haven't already seen the information on the meeting in Rome on October 16th, where this he's a nuclear physicist, has discovered how to take common metals, namely copper and zinc, and separate the atoms instead of them all being clumped together. And when he does this, the nucleus of each atom becomes a sun and produces huge amounts of what's called plasma, which can be used to run electricity. It can be used in many different ways: medical applications, rocket propulsion systems. You can soak seeds in water that's been exposed to this plasma, and they'll grow even in the desert, and they'll grow real fast and real big and have lots of stuff. But I wanted to address well, actually, let me just read you a quote here, and then I'm going to address there's so much I need to cover here, but Keshe, the guy who is the inventor, I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. I think you pronounce it Keshe. But it's spelled Keshe if you want to Google it. And there's a Keshe Foundation.org, and you can go there and see that meeting. But anyway,
And it's on the Diamonds blog.
Yeah, it's on the Diamonds blog, but he's producing plasma. He's producing plasma. Now, this man, he's bypassing all greed and control, and he's making this available free. He's making the plans available. There's people making it in third world countries from about $10 worth of material. And you don't have to import any material. You can just make it with common stuff. And he made it years ago, and it's been tested out by all these different scientists, and they're already in operation. And he says in the next month or two that there'll be 1 million units operating in the homes of the poorest Italians, producing all the power they need for free. And I've heard that there's huge pallets of these boxes. They're boxes about the size of, 6 inches by 6 inches by 8 inches. Some bigger, some smaller. But he's dropping them off by the pallet load in streets like of Bangladesh, poor places, with instructions how to use them, so people will have this free energy. And it'll not only be free energy for their homes, but you can take an orange and put this plasma energy, go through it into water, and the water will have all the signatures of the orange. It'll taste like orange. It'll have all the nutrients and vitamins of orange. So you could take one orange and feed a whole village. And this is a self-contained unit that even in a fire it would keep working. And if you beat it up, it would keep working because it's solid state. And it lasts for about 30 or 40 years. But anyway, it's also good for healing. But I wanted to read you, and before I read you this, I'm just going to say that he also put out a video saying there's a second planet visible at times in the eastern sky, and he thinks that it's going to be the end of life on this planet as we know it. And I understand why he thinks that, and I honor the man. He's brilliant. He's a saint. He's a master. But back in 72, and Marianne will read this here in a minute, we were faced with a different scenario of doom and gloom. And what it was is there was a energy blast from the sun that would have fried us. And some aliens, galactic brothers and sisters, were able to save us. And she's going to read that information here in a minute just to show you that we haven't come this far just to go into smoke. Now, Keshe, I think it is, feels like his propulsion systems, which is the plasma thing, just for a guy for $50 using a soda bottle was able to make a anti-gravity propulsion system out of it, Armenian American. And that's on the video where he showed it in Rome. But I want to read to you about what plasma energy is, and this is brief. And just wrap your brain around it. Listen with both sides of your brain, both your logical mind, your intuitive mind. And this is brief, and it says here, the heart is our connecting point for all life. It may seem contradictory, but space within the heart center is the connective medium. And we are speaking here, by the way, of the heart chakra, the energy in the heart area of the human body. Remember, in the Bible it says we're made in the image and likeness of God. So we're learning just what that means. But let me continue reading here. Within space is the permeable essence, called the Akash or Akasha in Hindi. It is called the Prajna Paramitra in Tibetan. This permeable essence, the substratum of all life, is the connective fluid and contains the primordial life force for all living things. Akasha is that which gives space to and makes room for the existence of all that has substance. Okay, here's the key word. what astrophysicists regard as plasma, sometimes they regard it as the charged gas, which permeates all space throughout the cosmos, is what metaphysicists call the Akash or the Akasha. Space is not empty, but permeated by the connective tissue, substratum, plasma, which, when activated, gives rise to all substances of life. And Candy has been introducing us to the Anastasia books, and she, in those books, introduced us to the replicators. And other people have hinted at that. Sheldon Neidl, I believe. I may be wrong, but I think he did, and Cobra and so forth. Now, personally, I want to grow my own food because I love the plants, and I love the devas of the plants, and it's just a beautiful thing. But with these inventions, we will be able to have food even when we don't have food. And if you'd studied years ago the jasmine material, and my previous husband who died 10 years ago, and I actually tried it out for 6 months and it worked fine. You don't even have to eat. You can just absorb all your nutrients from prana. That's another story. But anyway, I just wanted to read this about the plasma, because that is what is being produced in these inexpensive, easy to use, safe. They don't give off any radiation whatsoever. They are simply producing vast amounts of the same stuff that comes off our sun. Our sun is producing plasma. And since Keshe is, now he's I think a nuclear physicist is what he calls himself. He's a scientist. And they're very left-brained, very logical. And logically, in his mind, he's done the math, this other planet is going to cause harm to us. But I knew about this other planet probably 30 years ago, and I learned about it from one of the greatest minds on the planet. And this is a planet that circles around our sun and Sirius A and B, and it comes around every few thousand years. So I don't think it's going to destroy us, because it's a cyclic thing. But for some reason, Keshe believes it will. Now, even if he's right and I'm wrong, and you know, I'm just doing the best I can here. What you're going to hear Marianne read, you'll understand that there is technology and beings in the universe who can easily get us through this, because they did it back in 1972. And you'll hear all about that in a minute. And the other thing, what I just read about the heart, is not just Jesus Christ. There were many saints and masters in antiquity who did miracles. And they all said, all that I do, you can do and more. I'm just a simple man. I'm just a simple woman. And then they would try to explain how they did it. Well, I just read to you. They went in their heart, and instead of heads, they were in their hearts. And whatever they were confronted with, their hearts, which produces plasma, and you know it's measurable by instruments that the heart is putting out an energy field 5,000 times stronger than the brain. Okay, 5,000. Right? If I give you $1, no big deal. I'll give you $5,000. Well, maybe that's worth a mention, right? If I give you one lemon, okay, you give me a lemon. I give you 5,000 lemons. What would you do with that many? And the energy field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the head. It's where the power is. We generate plasma. It's why the Bible says love conquers all. Because when we qualify the energy of our hearts with love, that is the frequency that is irresistible to everything, because it contains all wisdom. So I could ramble, but please, Marianne, would you read that article? that thing on 1972.
All right, I'm right here. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Cynthia. I've got the article up here.
Great.
The title is "What Happened in 1972 that Made This Shift Unique," and it's from the book. It's Chapter 14. From "Nothing in this book is true, but it's exactly how things are." And let's see, it is by Bob Frissell. So it goes, to begin this story, we must go back far in time to when Thoth and other ascended masters were synthetically creating the Christ consciousness grid to heal what had happened between the Martians and the Earthlings in Atlantis. When they began their construction of the grid, they made the hole in Egypt that connects to the flower of life in the halls of Amenti and activated their geomancy with sacred points all over the world. They then calculated that we would matriculate into the fourth dimension by the winter of 1998. And at that time, only a very few people would make it. There was nothing unusual about this experiment of creating the Christ consciousness grid synthetically. Apparently, it was done on a regular basis, that is, jumping planets up and down dimensional levels. No one in the universe paid any particular attention to this experiment. It was no big deal. However, about 200 years ago, the Syrians, our father aspect, became aware of a high possibility that we were not going to make it at all. They foresaw an event that was going to happen in 1972, and they knew that we had to be at the fourth dimensional level by then in order to survive. If we were there by 1972, there would be no problem. But if not, everything would be wiped out, the entire planet. And as time passed, it increasingly seemed as if we would not reach that consciousness level. The Syrians did not want to see us eliminated. We are, in a certain sense, their children, and they have this special parental love connection with us. They started searching for a way to solve the problem, but were unsuccessful. There was no known way to get a planet at our level of awareness through the changes that were coming. When this had happened in the past, it meant that the planet was destroyed. The Syrians, everything went blank. The Syrians kept on looking, however, and eventually they discovered that someone in a faraway galaxy had conceived of an idea that might work, but had never been tried. It was still not totally certain that we were going to make it. Consciousness can and does make quantum leaps all the time, but the Syrians were assuming the worst. So they went ahead and prepared everything necessary to implement the ideas. They created a living vehicle that was 50 miles long, cigar-shaped, black, and seamless, with both carbon and silicon life forms on it, merged into one. The whole thing was a self-aware living unit. It had a transparent area on one end and was manned by 300 to 350 men and women of the Syrian race from the third planet. And let me take a drink of water.
This is fascinating.
Okay. They wore white uniforms with gold emblems, dedicating as much time to this project as was necessary. They also made 8 little flying saucer-type vehicles or ships that were to be unmanned. These were approximately 12 to 20 feet in length. The Syrians assembled this all together, worked out all its possibilities, then set it aside and waited. Meanwhile, back on Earth, in early 1972, Drunvalo was directed to Canada as soon as he got there. He had to make a secret connection with a man named David Suzuki. Suzuki is a very highly disciplined person who works on many different levels. He studied genetics not by looking through a microscope, but by looking through a telescope. He believed in the principle, as above, so below. If you are looking at really big things, you can see all motions more clearly. He watched the motions and movements of asteroids and applied that to his understanding of genetics. Suzuki was also interested in the activity of our sun and had a team of people watching it all the time. He knew that one day in 1950, researchers had witnessed a phenomenon that was unknown in human experience. A spiraling light came off the sun and went rapidly past the Earth. They had no idea what this was, but it was an indication of something unusual occurring. As the Earth rotates on its axis, the axis itself wobbles, creating several cycles. The slow 25,920-year precession, and another that is the inclination itself oscillating back and forth, which takes about 46,000 years. There are also other motions. One in particular takes 14 years. According to Suzuki, we were on the furthest most point of this cycle in 1950, when the spiral went flying past the Earth. The area subtended by the wobble began to widen, the equivalent of the top slowing down. It took the researchers 14 years of study before concluding that this change would lead to a shifting of the poles. By 1964, they were pretty certain of this. Suzuki's team studied the data for 4 more years before they acted. In 1968, they were convinced that the shift was imminent. Suzuki published a paper that was first distributed only to the Canadian government, then to the United States and most other governments, saying that we were going to have a new North and South Pole. He said the spiral of light was coming off the sun like clockwork every 3 years, only it was increasing in intensity each time. From all their calculations of the past 18 years, they had concluded that sometime in 1972, between August and November, the energy level would be such that there would be an explosion on the sun, an explosion unparalleled in our experience. They predicted there would be another explosion in 1984, and very soon after that, we would experience a pole shift. The actual event happened on August 7th, 1972. From our observation, and we didn't know, of course, that the Syrians had intervened. It was the biggest thing that we had ever seen. Anthony R. Curtis, in his book, The Space Almanac, called it, quote, the most intense solar storm ever recorded, unquote. The one, according to Science News, the early days of August saw a severe disturbance on the sun that produced 4 major flares between August 2nd and August 7th. The ones recorded in early August were among the most major ever recorded. The August 7th flare ran the X-ray sensors off the scale. The solar wind, which has an average velocity of 500 kilometers per second or 1 million miles per hour, got up to 2.5 million miles an hour for 3 days. And then it dropped down to 1.5 million miles an hour for 30 days. This was considered impossible. Yet it happened. Accounts of the event were published in all the major scientific literature of the world and many of the major newspapers. But scientists didn't know what it meant. All they did was publish the data. And after 6 months, Suzuki called a worldwide scientific meeting to discuss the implications of this explosion. Drunvalo left him about 3 months before, so he doesn't know what happened at this gathering. And what he does know is that previous to the meeting, that is, from August to November 1972, there was a great amount of information published and written about this. After the meeting in June or July of 1973, there was a total worldwide blackout, just as if the great event had never happened. If the Syrians had not intervened, the explosion would have definitely killed us all. It would have killed everything on the planet, right down to the level of the microbes and algae. What really happened was that our sun was about to expand in a giant red pulse out of the orbit of Jupiter or thereabouts. For 5 billion years or so, it had been a hydrogen sun where 2 hydrogen atoms fused together to make helium. This has been the source of all the light. When the helium has been building up, reaches critical mass, you get another reaction, with 3 helium atoms coming together to form carbon. At that moment, the sun pulses. A shifting of the sun poles also took place as a result of a bubble, 2/3 the size of the sun, forming on its surface. If we had been prepared for this, that is, consciously prepared, if we were at the Christ conscious level or higher, we could have just turned to it, and it would have been a beautiful trip. But since we had fallen so far in awareness from the events in Atlantis 16,000 years ago, we certainly were not prepared. At the time, 144,000 different races from the other dimensional levels came here to assist. By mid-January 1972, for them, 80,000 of them had already arrived. They had very intense discussions among themselves on the subject of the impending red pulse, and about 79,900 of these cultures said, there is no hope. There is no possibility of the humans surviving. Let's get out of here. They went home because non-interference was their policy. The other 100 or so cultures, the Pleiadians, the Aldebarans, the Arcturians, and others led by the Syrians, decided to stay and help. The Syrians not only had the hardware and the software in place, they also had ambassadors. The moment the situation was declared hopeless, they sent ambassadors to Galactic Command to ask permission to carry out their experiment. And let me take a drink here.
So keep in mind that this planet that Keshe is talking about.
Okay,
just a minute. I'm just giving a footnote here.
Oh, okay.
This planet that Keshe is talking about, we have the transcript of that 2.5 minutes. I hope we have the transcript. That he thinks is going to destroy life on this planet. He wants to get everybody off using his technology. It circles around our sun and Sirius A and Sirius B. In other words, this is a planet that takes thousands of years to go around those suns and this sun. So it's a planet, it's like a binary system. I don't know if I have this correct or not, but from what I can gather is that we've got our planets going around our sun, but we are a binary system with Sirius A and B. And there is a planet that goes around both suns, and that's the one Keshe is talking about. And so the fact that Marianne is reading this and it's saying that the people from Sirius, said, we're not giving up, we're not leaving. Okay, back to you, Marianne.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, let me back up here. The Syrians not only had the hardware and software in place, they also had ambassadors. The moment the situation was declared hopeless, they sent ambassadors to Galactic Command to ask for permission to carry out their experiment. If anyone at all, even just one person, were to survive this explosion of the sun, the Syrians would have been refused. But because no one on Earth was going to survive, they did receive permission. They were first asked how many survivors they thought there would be as a result of the experiment. They really didn't know, but said probably at least 2, but no more than 10 will make it. The key condition for receiving permission was the belief that at least one person would survive. In truth, as this was a radical thing that had never been tried, they really didn't know how many would survive. After receiving permission from the Syrians immediately went to work and within 30 days had everything in place. They launched the large cigar-shaped object that was just outside the membrane of consciousness of the Earth at 440,000 miles out. And they placed it, get this, they placed it 1 overtone higher, so it was invisible to us. They placed the 8 small flying saucer-type ships on the apexes of the 8 tetrahedral points that is the 8 points of the star tetrahedron around the Earth. There is a star tetrahedron inscribed in the Earth. There is also a much bigger one around 10,000 miles above the surface. The points are the chakra system of the planet. Again, these were set one-dimensional overtone higher than the Earth. Then, from this cigar-shaped ship, they shot a beam of laser light, the likes of which we do not have. The beam was about 8 inches in diameter, made up of little segments of different colored digital light moving, of course, at the speed of light. This light was coming from one dimensional world into another. And here we go. The beam entered into the North Pole and hit the little flying saucer type ship that was at the tetrahedral point. From there, the immense amount of information was translated into 3 primary rays, red, blue, and green, that were beamed to the next 3 ships. These ships repeated this and sent the rays to the next 3 ships until they ended up at the South Pole. There, they were translated back into information and shot into the center of the Earth. From the center of the Earth, by refraction, the information came out in little tiny beams of light by the billions, all over the planet. As these beams came out, they connected to all humans and animals on the planet. Remember, the Syrians had to protect us from a wall of flame, and this is how they did it. Not only did they have to protect us, they also had to do it in such a way that we didn't know we were being protected. Our knowing would have completely changed the human equation. They also had to speed up our evolution so we could get to where we could handle being inside the sun. They set a holographic field around the Earth. Then they set up a holographic field around each person and animal. They then began to program events into these fields. In the first few months, they didn't change anything. They just got control. They programmed our sky into a hologram and kept everything going as though nothing unusual were happening. Then they began to program events into our lives so that we could evolve as rapidly as possible. At the same time, they were protecting us from the wall of flame. From the summer of 1972 to the summer of 1974, we were moving in an entirely new direction. We began to accelerate in our evolution. Then it started to get out of hand. We began to really accelerate. This experiment was much more successful than the Syrians ever imagined. Instead of 10 or so making it through, the number is now up to, and this is I can't remember when this is written, but the number is now up to 1.5 billion or so people who would make it through the next level. We have obviously been protected from the sun. We're still here. The Syrians' intervention also bought time for the synthetic Christ consciousness grid to be completed. Without this grid, no one can make it to the next level. And this grid was completed on February 4th, 1989. Normally, when a planet goes into Christ consciousness, only a very few people initially make it through to live and understand the new reality. The rest drop down to a lower level of consciousness, and only over a very long period of time do the initial few pull the rest up until the whole planet reaches Christ consciousness. There are, as well, different levels of Christness. Levels of Christ consciousness in the fourth dimension are the 10th, 11th, and 12th overtones. It usually takes a long period of time for a planet to evolve through these stages. The first two overtones of the fourth dimension contain the astral plane, where very powerful thought forms have taken on a life of its own. The third overtone is where most people go when they die. The fourth contains fairies and tree spirits. The angelic realms are in the 7th to the 9th overtone. It isn't until you reach the 10th overtone of the fourth dimension that you attain Christ consciousness. It is one of these higher overtones of the fourth dimension that we of the planet are headed. The geometry of the grid around any planet changes as the consciousness of the planet changes. These changes are normally very rare, usually every 1,000 years or so. Changes on the grid around the Earth are now happening by the minute, and that may be by a second now. This has attracted the attention of beings from all of the parts of the galaxy. Because we are inside the system, it is difficult for us to know how fast we are moving. But for anyone outside observing us, it is obvious. What is happening here is unheard of. It has gotten to the point where we are on the interdimensional galactic television, and I think this was written in 1998. That is why the two higher overtones are like a parking lot. Everyone is tuned into us to monitor this event because they know that whatever happens to us here will affect them too. All life everywhere will be touched by this and is being touched by this. According to Thoth, an analogy of the speed at which we are evolving is one of a newborn baby becoming an adult in 15 minutes. That was in 1991. Now the infant would mature in a matter of a few seconds. This is totally unique. There are no memory patterns for it anywhere, even on the Melchizedek level. It appears to be the most successful experiment that anyone, anywhere, has ever conducted. Drunvalo now suspects that this may have been in the mind of God from the very beginning. However, the Ascended Masters don't know what the outcome will be. Those wanted Drunvalo to be very clear about this. It thus far appears to be a very successful experiment. It is. But the Masters keep figuring out game plans that became obsolete before they ever implemented them. Originally, Thoth and other Ascended Masters thought the planet would reach critical mass around the last week of August. 1990, or the first week of September 1990, and that by the spring of 1991, we would go into another dimensional level. The Masters said that they would bond together, leave the earth in a ball of light, and go into another level of consciousness. That would pull us up and serve as the trigger for everyone to ascend. Instead, what happened in August 1990 was that Iraq invaded Kuwait. The major nations of the earth did band together, but in preparation for war. Because of this, the Ascended Masters held off. We created planetary unity of a sort by banding together against one man in one country. That was unique in our history. Never before in human history has essentially the entire planet melded together against one person. Even the world wars were very different from this. Because of the Iraq War, the Ascended Masters created a new game plan whereby 32 of them would go off at one time in a group Merkaba. They actually went through the Great Wall of Voidness and into the next octave. This is how Thoth left, May 4th, 1991. That would bring us up a little bit of time. Instead, that would bring us up a little bit at a time instead of all at once. Every time they do this, there would be a rapid expansion in our consciousness. They are timing these events now. Before Thoth left, he told Drumbelow that he suspects that we will not go through the sudden and violent shifting of the poles that usually accompanies a dimensional change. Rather, we will go through a series of steps with our eyes open, and we will do it very harmonically. The Ascended Masters are going to try to make this a controlled shift of consciousness. Let's return to late August and early September 1990 for a moment. We did reach critical mass. We had the necessary 7 to 10%, or roughly 500 people, who had opened up enough that they would go through. Ascension should have taken place. The numbers kept growing. They went way beyond critical mass. Then, in January 1992, another phenomenon took place. For the first time in 16,000 years, the light on the planet was more powerful than the darkness, and it still wasn't igniting. Something else was clearly happening, a cold fusion process, if you will. However, because the light was now in control, the Syrians decided we should be given back our power. The programming of the earth, how the events take place in our world, was given back to us. Since January 1992, what occurs on the planet is up to us completely. If we could just understand the nature of the situation, that our thoughts and feelings are creating our reality, we could change very rapidly. Drumbelow believes that all previous predictions regarding the future of the earth are no longer valid. The Syrian experiment of 1972 changed everything. Nostradamus was very accurate in his predictions up until 1972. And since then, he has fallen way off. Suzuki predicted a pole shift in 1984. He was sure of it. When 1984 came, we were in a totally different place. So it believes that we are going to have the most unique experience that life has ever had. When the time comes, every last person left on the planet will ascend into the next dimensional level together. There will be people, yes, dying all along, and those who will go into Christ consciousness through resurrection. We will be making this shift as a conscious planet, as though we were 1,000,000 years further advanced. Many higher aspects of life everywhere are begging to come down here, either through birth or as walk-ins, to directly experience this, because it is so unusual. And this article, this ends the article, and it was written by Bob Frissell in 2010. And the book is, nothing in this book is true, but it's exactly how things are. And thank you so much.
Boy, Marianne, that was breathtaking. That was beautiful. And folks, in your heart, you have one of these Keshe machines, but it's organic. It's not something you put together in a factory. Your heart is producing plasma. And the thing about plasma is, however you qualify it, you can qualify it with hatred, greed, lust. You can qualify it with love, faith, confusion, anything. You can qualify it with any emotion. You can qualify it with curiosity. You can qualify it with timidity. I mean, emotions from one extreme to the other. But when you take the plasma of your own heart, as long as you're breathing, you can be in an oxygen tent, and they could have given you 3 days to live. But as long as you're alive in a human body and your heart is beating, you're producing this plasma. And if you qualify it with love, it will overcome everything else. And Mare, would you please read about that path? It's called the Mystic Path.
Yes, 9 degrees Leo. Anna Millan, the Angels of the Mystic Path, and their name is spelled Anemalon. Beloved, there are 2 primary paths for those who seek enlightenment: the path of perfection and the path of love and holiness. On the path of perfection lie knowledge and self-discipline. This path is one of perfecting spirit, mind, emotions, and physical body, often using ancient techniques of yogis and shamans. It is the path of the spiritual warrior who subdues the enemy within. The other path of love and holiness is the one that we, the angels of the mystic path, guard and nourish. This is the path of the flowing heart of love divine, attuned to the original blueprints of creation. Flowing unconditional love transmutes creation to rapturously reflect the splendor and majesty of God. Stop for about 90 seconds. Tune into your body, to your feelings, your thoughts, and your desires. Whatever you tune into, pleasant, uncomfortable, intense, numb, regardless, love it with unconditional love. Let's do that for 90 seconds. Tune into your body, your feelings, your thoughts, and your desires with unconditional love for 90 seconds.
Hello? Anybody reading anything? I can't hear you.
Okay, now spend the next 90 seconds tuning the outer world, the physical world out there, the emotional, the mental, the world of desire. Whatever you tune to, uplifting or upsetting, love with unconditional love flowing from your heart. So for 90 seconds, tune into the outer world with unconditional love.
So in the silence that follows, just tune into your family, your home, your job. Tune in to any memories of your early life, or tune into what you see going in the world. Whatever is out there, even in the next room, your kids sleeping in the crib, whatever, just tune into everything out there. And as you tune into it, be in your heart. They say the longest journey any person ever makes is from their head to their heart. Go into your heart, and just whatever is in your life, especially that which you don't like, just send it love from your heart for the next 90 seconds, starting now. Now what you're doing is you are qualifying the plasma that you're generating as a son or daughter of God. Whatever we've been taught that we are, I guarantee you it is not correct. Whatever your mother thought you were, your father, the society, the school, that's not correct. And what you really are is your God, as is everything else. But you are God as a human being, whereas a tree is God as a tree. It's all God. But you're tuning into the outer world as God, as a human, who's generating plasma from your heart, and you're qualifying that plasma with love. This is the mystic path. Just keep doing it. Tell your mind to be quiet. Just do it. Be in your heart. Remember when you were in your heart as a child, and maybe you loved a dog or a cat or a person, but be in your heart and just send love to everything in your world. Going to work, all the people you see, the people at work, your family, just everything. All the bad people, the good people, the animals, everything. If it's in the world, just send it love. And this love is the transmutational agent. It is a frequency, it's a carrier wave of embedded information. Love is compressed, it's like a zip file, it's compressed information. And love is the information of divine life that lives in harmony. So instead of qualifying your plasma with anger, confusion, upsetness, judgment, blah, 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 just qualify it with divine, unconditional love. Like if you were a little kid and you were loving a kitten, or a good friend, or a beautiful piece of woods where you like to play, you just loved it. Just love everything right now. And this is the power right now that we're doing. So, Mira, would you continue reading?
Yes. As you can see from this exercise, on the path of love and holiness, self becomes the crucible of God's transforming love and rapture. This love is a flame of transfiguration, enlightenment, and redemption. This is the path of devotion. Love reveals the presence of God in everything that exists. Love transmutes all into its original perfect state. In the rapture of divine love, enlightenment walks hand in hand with service, and all else falls away. This is divine enchantment that creates bliss and awe. Even in the presence of a beloved mate, the most fulfilling experience consists of loving the godly qualities, the transcendent presence of God, as expressed in the embodied form of the beloved. Each step of this path requires choice. Often it is the choice between focusing attention on the outer appearances of the many or focusing attention on indwelling presence of the one. The many includes all the outer appearances of the beings of the world, of spirit, mind, emotion, and form. The one is the omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, indwelling divine life, intention, meaning, and love that exists inside all these outward forms. By seeing all through eyes of love, indwelling magnificence is revealed and awakened into expression. We are the heavenly hosts who walk with you on the path of love and holiness. Through the virtues of the letters of our name, Anemalon, Anamilan, we inspire people with ecstasy and devotion on this path of rapture. We open eyes to see the divine beloved in everything. We help reveal that the many are the one. Wisdom and enlightenment come to those who meditate with the intent of becoming one with universal mind. As you contemplate the letters of our name, the innocence of all is known, and the oneness of all life is understood. In love and holiness, we stand with each person as fires of bliss and purity remove any traces of separation between the soul and the one being. We guide footsteps safely into the arms of the beloved, which exists as truth of everything. Underneath it all are the everlasting arms. We stand in awe as the crown of enlightenment shines forth from each child of light on the path of holiness. We are the angels of the mystic path. Anamalan.
Thank you so much. That is what we're talking about. The Syrians back in 72 loved us so much. They loved us as a parent loving a child. A parent who is willing to risk everything for the love of the child. And that love found a way. And the way that they found exceeded all logic. And that's my message to Keshe, because I know he's going to hear this, because our calls on the Diamond Council are heard.
Hey, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Would this be a good time now to do the Law of One?
Always, girl. It's like saying, is this a good time to breathe? Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess we could breathe, yeah. Let's breathe. Absolutely. Okay, so let's all do the Law of One. Oh, Marianne, thank you. Okay, here's the thing, y'all, because we have some new people on the call. Now, we have the Galactics on the call. We have a lot of people listening who do it through other technology. So I want everybody, known and unknown, seen and unseen, to get comfortable. I want you to, if you're in a part of the world where it's night, I want you to dim the light so that your pineal gland can produce melatonin. Wherever you are in your spaceships or whatever dimension, just relax. And we're going to do 3 perfect breaths. We're going to breathe in to the count of 10. We're going to hold to the count of 10. We're going to breathe out to the count of 10. We're going to hold to the count of 10 3 times. Okay, everybody? And then we're going to all together do the Law of One. Now, before we do this, I want you to take the longest journey that anybody ever takes, which is to go from your head to your heart. And I want you to love unreasonably. Thoughts are reasonable. Love is outrageous. Love goes where angels fear to tread. Love conquers all. Go into your heart. In the Bible it says, ye must be as little children to enter the kingdom of God. You must be. You have to be as little children to enter the kingdom of God. So remember when you were an innocent child, and remember something or someone you loved innocently from your heart. And if you didn't have anybody like that, imagine what it would have been like if you had. Even if it was an imaginary playmate. Could have been a beloved pet, could have been your parents, could have been a sibling, could have been a friend, could have been a magical tree. Because little children see and feel things like that. But go into your heart and love, and then we're going to shine this love through the law of one outrageously, irrationally. We're going to do a scatter shot to everything with our love from our heart. And that love from our heart is qualifying the plasma that we're generating because we are in bodies. This is why these dark aliens have tried to, keep us alive but control us, because our bodies are plasma generators. And if you watch the Keshe thing, you'll understand. We are sons and daughters of God, and we do have dominion over creation. So we're going to do this special breath where you breathe in to the count of 10, hold to the count of 10, breathe out to the count of 10, hold the count of 10 3 times. We're going to do the law of one, but when we do the law of one, forget that you're male or female, forget what your monthly income is or isn't, or what your father thought of you or didn't think of you, and just for the sake of the prayer, be divine consciousness. Be the innocent child who is God in manifestation, controlling the plasma of your own heart, and we're going to blast everything, real and unreal, seen and unseen, understood or not understood, past, present, future, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, scientific or not unscientific, with what? With love. And that love is saying, I am one with everything, and I want only the highest good for everything, because that's what love does. So let's do the 3 special breaths, starting now. Breathe in to the count of 10. Fill up your whole belly with air. Hold to the count of 10. Slowly breathe out to the count of 10. We are plasma generators, and we are qualifying this. Okay, now breathe in to the count of 10 again. Continue till you've done 3 times. We invoke the living flame of divine love to be with us now. We invoke universal consciousness. Okay, repeat after me. We are all one. We are all. Hit star 6. Just hit
Go
the
ahead.
star button.
I think the lines are unmuted. Just hit star 6, please.
Just hit star 6. We are all one.
Okay, here we go. We are all one.
We
are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed.
When
one is harmed, all are harmed.
When one is helped, all are helped.
When one is helped, all are helped.
Therefore, in the name of who I am.
Therefore, in the name of who I am.
And I am one with all there is.
And I am
one with all there is.
I ask that only the highest good.
I ask that
only the highest good
of all concerned happen.
Of all
concerned happen.
And I give thanks that this is done.
And I give
thanks that this is done.
So be it, and so it is.
So be it.
And now,
so
for the next
is.
period of time in silence, beam your heart to everything in creation through intent.
I'm going to,
Just feel your heart as a plasma generator and beam that love to everything in creation, because you have a right to. Because scientifically, mathematically, esoterically, in every other way, you are one with everything. So beam love to everything right now. We're doing it together. Galactics, join us. All you people listening, join us. Beam love to everything, asking that only the highest good of everything happen, including yourself. For the next 90 seconds, starting now. Keep bringing your mind back to it. Beam love to everything. Everything, every physical situation, every emotion in yourself and others, every thought in yourself and others, every desire in yourself and others. Love and the law of one, the highest good. We have 30 more seconds. Beam love. Everything inside yourself, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and everything outside yourself, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, to the furthest reaches of space and time. Thank you. Marianne.
Yeah, I'm going to change the mode here. Okay.
Mir has had guidance to share this. She shared it with me earlier today. Oh, thank you, Mir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn it over to you.
Okay, we were along with the Angels of the Mystic Path, which we just read, which was 9.
Hey, Mir.
Yes.
Let me change the mode first. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Along with the Angels of the Mystic Path that we just read, Anna Milon, 9 degrees Leo, we were guided to just read this entry paragraph for the 9 degrees Aries, Animal, the Angels of Love Victory. It says, Beloved, we are good friends when it comes to solving problems in the mental, emotional, and physical levels of creation for the purpose of the victory of love. There is no problem beyond our ability to correct and solve. We are extremely reliable whenever asked for assistance. We have special influence over both will and feelings. We teach children of light through the divine virtues of the letters of our name how to create powerful visualizations, thoughts, feelings, and sensations that form vaults for sacred purposes. If a person demands it, we ourselves create such vaults of power and transfer them into the Akasha principle. These effects then work on either the mental, emotional, or physical levels, whatever is needed for the highest good of all. There exists no problem in the zone around Earth which cannot be solved by the angels of Animil. A person can ask any question and be answered instantly by way of inspiration. Animil, the angels of love victory, 9 degrees Aries. And then the other one that forms this triune, is 9 degrees Sagittarius. Just a moment. Do you want to? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to read that one. One of the reasons I want to read it is because that's where my Chiron is in my chart. And Chiron in your astrology chart, your birth chart, is what you have to deal with between your soul and your spirit. In other words, there's the part of you that is in a body that had your mother and father in your school, and you're living at whatever street address you are. And then there's another part of you, which is the eternal son or daughter of God, who has been through all these lifetimes. And to connect the two is where your Chiron is going to be in your chart. Chiron is a very large asteroid. They're almost calling it a dwarf planet. And it's emitting certain frequencies, and wherever it falls in your chart. But there's no time to go into that. Let me just read it. This is 9 degrees Sagittarius. Nemelon, the angels of protection for the insane. And we've all been driven crazy by all this stuff. And those poor babies injected with those experimental vaccines, we've all been driven nuts. So these are the angels of protection for the insane. Beloved, we protect insane people and the mentally infirm, who by fate are not to be met with any evils. We protect those who suffer from spells, seizures, and fits. On the path of seeking higher consciousness and sublime happiness, a person goes through changes in awareness and emotions. At many points in the process of transformation, divine willpower embedded in the physical body temple is aroused in the instinct of survival, so that a person enters powerful altered states of consciousness. Some of these states can be overwhelming. They may be sporadic or persistent. Strong protection by the heavenly host is required during these passages. And that's all I'm going to read because it's too long. I don't want to take up the time. But what we're saying here is that no matter what condition our condition is in, no matter how sane or insane we may or may not be at whatever time, we are being protected and love miracles are being activated. I assure you personally that we have not gone through all that we've gone through, Atlantis and Lemuria, to just go be blasted by a planet and have to leave and go live somewhere else. It's just not the way things go. We have been protected when Jesus Christ incarnated, not the Jesus Christ that was presented after the dark agenda, changed it at the Council of Nicaea 400 years after he left, but the real one, the real Jesus Christ that is preserved. It was the Hammurabi scrolls that were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls that were found in the 50s. I actually met one of the guys who was the interpreters of those because it was original Aramaic. But the real Jesus Christ who taught love, who did not teach anything that would lead to war or to judging another. He was against judgment. He said, "Judge not that you be not judged." he said, God's love is like the sun. It shines equally on the good and bad alike. He says, give thanks for all things concerning you, for that is my will. And all things work for good to them that believe. And there have been, excuse me, so many great beings have incarnated on this earth. And as Marianne was reading earlier, we're not isolated. When one is harmed, all are harmed. We have heavenly parents of all kinds, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, who are looking after us, their beloved child. We are so loved and we are so protected, but we are the spawn or the offspring of omnipotence. Those of us who have incarnated on this planet are specializing in the use of power. And we've had to have a number of lifetimes to see what it's like when power is misused, whether for greed or for lust or for, whatever, intentionally or not intentional. Because I assure you, many of the young men and women who've gone off to war did so honestly believing they were doing so for democracy, and then later they find out, that the wars were just, cooked up. But anyway, we have gone through school. It's out. We have graduated. And now, as graduates, we are going to be empowered beyond belief. Our hearts are plasma generators. Look at the Keshe. Excuse me. I'm so sorry, Keshe, if you're listening to this. Keshe, I hope I'm pronouncing it well. And by the way, Keshe, if you are listening to this, or if someone who knows you is listening to this, if you look up the origin of Keshe, one of the meanings, K-E-Z, is the Sikh word meaning the growing of hair of the human body for radio frequencies. And if you will grow your hair and your beard naturally, there's a lot of research on it. The military has done research on it in the 50s, and they did it again during the 80s and 90s. And they only cut people's hair because they wanted to control them. Just look it up and grow your hair and beard, and I think it'll help you a lot. But anyway, I think it'll help anyone a lot. Whew, here I go. Chris, are you on the line? Okay, you have a reading tonight. Okay, the next thing I want to say is this: there's a full moon, October 27th, which is Tuesday. Okay, this is Thursday, so next Tuesday we have a full moon. Now, the full moon is the completion of the new moon when we did our last call 2 weeks ago. In the new moon, there was all this miraculous rescue stuff from other planets, and also loving relationship stuff, but it was based on electrochemistry and physics, which is the Keshe thing. Y'all will probably just listen to that thing because you're tired of hearing me talking about it, but you will thank me for it later. But anyway, we're going to be set free from the political systems of the world, from the economic systems of the world. His invention is going to transform agriculture. It's going to transform medicine. It's going to make everybody independent. It's just amazing. But at this full moon, the sun is at 4 degrees Scorpio, which is the heavenly host of families. So the culmination of this moon cycle is the protection of families. And you know that the dark agenda has tried to break families up by educating the kids outside the home, getting the mothers and fathers to go to work, et cetera, et cetera. They're doing everything they can to break that up. And this solar is going to target the healing of families. Saturn, during this full moon, is at 4 Sagittarius, which is peace on earth. Saturn is what we're going to be forced into. We're going to be forced into peace on earth, whether we like it or not. We can go kicking and screaming all the way, or we can go happily. But regardless of how we go, we're going to go there. And if you watch the Keshe thing, you'll understand that even better. The lowest point on the chart, which is where our roots are, is protection. We are being protected. The midheaven, believe it or not, is 21 Leo, which is prophecy. And as you know, there have been a lot of prophecies made by all kinds of people about these end times. So, Marianne, would you read 21 Leo? Because this is the impact that this full moon is going to have on the collective consciousness. Is 21 Leo.
Okay.
Rimog, the angels of prophecy.
Let me find it here.
And by the way, for the new timers, this is not some channeled material. This comes from the most ancient Kabbalah, which is a collection of teachings, and the Dead Sea Scrolls helped with this as well, that are the common precursor of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. It's what the sacred mystery schools. And there's 10,000 books on Kabbalah, but the most powerful magician I've ever met in my life said there's only 4 that are correct, and they're all by Franz Bardon, Bardon. You can get them off Amazon. And I was 35 years old when I had a double S-curve scoliosis, and in 5 weeks I was given a brand new spine, and he learned it through these 4 books. And having been through that, I believe what the dude says. Plus, there was a lot of other miracles too, which I won't take the time to go into. Marianne, do you have 21 Leo?
Yes, I've got it right here.
Great.
Okay. 21 degrees Leo. Rimog, the angels of prophecy. Beloved, every act of free will causes cascading chains of results. For this reason, some people may have mixed feelings about fates they have created for themselves and ongoing effects their actions will have on others. Therefore, we awaken within people clear inner guidance. We help with understanding the short and long-term implications of each choice made through free will. We inspire highest intuition and understanding of cause and effect. And much like an expert chess player, we help the mind's eye see moves and their effects many steps further along in the game. Humanity was never intended to make decisions from a purely rational or logical viewpoint. Intuition, the providence of the right hemisphere of the brain, adds a spatial, creative perspective to the linear, the rational one. However, in the final analysis, the heart is the best source of guidance for making decisions. When I see through a heart of love, then underlying blueprints of perfection can be seen and enlivened. In this way, choices made can create realities that bless all creation. We help people understand and regulate feelings. Meditation on the divine virtues allows individual mind and emotions to unite and become one with divine mind and feelings, taking on qualities of divinity. When asked for assistance, we permeate the mental and emotional worlds with access to highest insights along these lines. We help see cascading results of decisions far into the future. and inspire right choices with this knowledge. We also provide this information about decisions that have been made by others. This is why we are the angels of prophecy. We help a person see and take into account not only the laws of the universe, but also the effects of grace and mercy on the future. Together, humans and angels make a complete feedback loop. Angels evolve through ever greater complexity of service, and humans evolve through use of free will. When a human uses free will to make a choice, that is the highest good of all. The Creator's design is for angels to then assist in materializing that choice. The heavenly hosts work for the highest good of all because their understanding of the process of the oneness of all life. When one is harmed, all are harmed. And when one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, angels of light assist when a choice is one that will benefit the entirety of the one omnipotent divine being. Angels of destruction, often referred to as the angels of darkness, exist to help humans when their choices would harm any part of the one being. What goes around comes around. Whatever is done to another comes back. When this happens, great suffering occurs. In time, harmlessness is learned through reaping results and experiences of suffering. This is fate. If through love and grace and mercy, lessons of harmlessness and oneness are learned inwardly through growing enlightenment, then returning harmful fates can be softened. Ask and you shall receive. We help rouse conscience and remorse for negative choices to the point that a person asks for assistance from heavenly sources. An integral part of spiritual involvement is building and enriching links with angels and unseen beings who are guides and mentors of the real self. Many people have not often communicated with heavenly hosts, or if they have, sometimes it's a one-way communication where they do all the talking and not enough time given to listening. As was said in a previous message, a good friendship usually grows distant and weakens when two friends allow long intervals to elapse between visits. It is with communication between a human and the angels. So it is with communication with a human and the angels. Just as frequent, high-quality communication facilitates close friendship between people. So also it is the lifeblood of relationships between a child of divine being and the heavenly host. Take time from daily routines to establish communication with the heavenly host and intercommunication with the One. Learn how to mentally ask us to come, how to wait and feel our presence, how to listen within the heart. Slow down, relax, go within, become receptive, call in the higher beings, wait, relax, breathe deeply, and trust what comes. It is different for each person. Some see mental visions, some feel, some sense, some get thoughts, Some receive a combination of these. Trust. Then alternate praying and listening. Learn how to be just as comfortable with nonverbal, intuitive thought process as with the linear, verbal one. Learn how to join this with knowing in the heart so that you can see through eyes of love. Then, when meditating on virtues with specific intent, we open awareness and merge it with the divine. And from this state, you can alter fate of self and others through grace and mercy and true blessing. True blessing awakens higher knowing within the heart, so that lessons of harmlessness are learned from within. This uplifts consciousness so that returning negative karma is lessened to manifest in a most symbolic way. Through the virtues of the letters of our name, it is possible to prophesy with great accuracy and to see how much grace and mercy can eliminate painful fates of the future caused by failure to adhere to the laws of justice and harmony. And this is Rigmag, the Angels of Prophecy, 21 degrees Leo.
So this full moon that's happening Tuesday, that's going to be the impact on the mass conscious mind. What she just read, and that we are going to, as a collective, realize we're creating what's going on, and we're going to have pricks of conscience, and we're going to pray for help and guidance, and we're going to all get it in our own way. There's no two people alike, so everybody will get it in their own way. It might be over, while watching a football game. It could be while fishing on a lake. It could be down at the local bar. It could be sitting at a cubicle. The guidance is just going to come in. And there is going to be such a downpouring of divine light that we're going to be okay. And I'm going to anchor that right now, because the bottom of the chart, which is called the Nadar, or the IC, is 21 Aquarius. Mir, would you read 21 Aquarius? This is the heavenly host of protection. We are being protected. Please, whatever you hear or don't hear, whether it's your personal life, your own sanity, Aunt Martha in the emergency room, or the whole world or the universe, whatever it is, we are being protected. Okay, this is 21 Aquarius.
Januri, the Angels of Protection, Jenuri. Beloved, dealing successfully with overbearing influences, whether it is elementals, beings of the elements, beings of the zone circumscribing Earth, or a negative entity of any sphere, is a certainty. Through the qualities of Januri, we teach servers how to protect themselves as they help others. Protection and safety are states of consciousness that are nurtured and cultivated by spiritual practice. Attuned to the complete inner self, the infant in the delta state of utter being and unity, the little child self creating inner realities from theta states, the feelings of the adolescent self in alpha, and the five senses, memory and logic of the beta adult state. Attune on all these levels to love, and thereby create a magnetic field attracting safety and protection. You must be as little children to enter the kingdom of God. To be absolutely safe in all situations, a person must be all of these. The foundation being strong awareness of pure being and unity with all. In this state of relaxation, a divine child is loving all life, is happy, creative, free, intelligent, attracting whatever is necessary to demonstrate an inner state of oneness. In love and calm, understanding the consequences of actions comes naturally, and so does joy. Key to knowing love as the most powerful protection in attracting heaven on earth and transmuting negativity is the letter J of our name, the quality of cosmic love. To comprehend and feel this love in both microcosm and macrocosm is to be absolutely filled with rapture, and a person filled with rapture is safe because this love attracts only paradise, and in so doing it transmutes all. Cosmic love is natural to a person who recognizes the one life in all. This love vibrates to the knowing that underneath all polarities, within all beings, and within all consciousness, there is a will, a plan, a love, and an essence that unifies them as one. Cosmic love is the feeling of the unified field itself. When someone attunes to this vibration and radiates it fully, the consciousness of all other beings are blessed into sympathetic resonance. Test the power of love. Practice loving from the heart, not just thinking about loving. Move your point of awareness from the head into the heart, and there flow with love. Watch what happens as your heart flows with love for everything perceived on every level. Watch what is attracted as every state of being, desire, thought, feeling, and physical situation in yourself and others are bathed in cosmic love. You may be especially surprised and delighted at what happens with the changes that occur in situations normally evoking fear or judgment. Experience the power of universal love to transform everything in yourself and in the world. Over time, it will become natural and easy to love unconditionally the situations and people in your life every day, and thereby transform them. Love that is comprehended intellectually reveals the holiness of all life and expresses the mystery of rapture and ecstasy in its highest form. On the emotional plane, cosmic love attracts only more of itself. Following the laws of magnetism and feminine power, love attracting more love. All respond in love, regardless of their outer appearance or inward polarity. Cosmic love evokes cosmic love in all others and all situations. It is God calling on to God. It is the one being recognizing self in all other selves. On the physical plane, cosmic love arouses Kundalini, life force, to its highest power. This lightning bolt of divine life can suddenly transform anyone's consciousness. The quality of E is the ability to imagine and feel one's consciousness existing throughout all space and time. In meditation, imagine filling all space, infinitely big, and then infinitely small, one with all beings. Then imagine and feel yourself existing in all time. Meditate on being infinitely in the present, the future, and the past. N is happiness, awakening joy beyond the ability of words to describe. I have not given you the spirit of fear, but of joy and life everlasting. Cosmic love combined with omnipresence and sublime joy awakens the fire of transmutation, the fire of the phoenix that burns up the old and gives birth to the new splendor and perfection. It is the new enlightened self that rises from the ashes of imperfections that have been released. The fire of transmutation burns whatever it comes into contact with, so that a more beautiful condition is born and arises out of the flames. As the fire of cosmic love, omnipresence and happiness transforms any harm in self or others. One creates a perfect outcome in all situations for all involved. This creation formed by the virtue of you, the act of creation and its ongoing effects. Meditating on this awakens a person's ability to go into trance and view the ongoing results of each creative act, understanding fully the changes that will ripple through time and space from what has occurred. At this time, the law of one can be used to guarantee creation of the highest good of all, bringing about absolute paradise. Once accomplished, a person continues in freedom and independence, to confidently work with the evolving situation by receiving clear direction from Providence. Complete command of the final material outcome occurs through the law of cause and effect, I, the last letter in our name. This awakens memory and conscience, so that once the situation has been restored to safety, the highest good of all invoked, one may finalize on the physical plane whatever is appropriate for the new reality. Over time, using the form of cosmic love protection, great confidence comes because of the many miracles achieved. Protection becomes so integrated within one's consciousness that a childlike state of unconditional love, trust, and innocence is permanently maintained. Throughout history, we have inspired those who serve to charge the atomic oscillations of amulets and talismans with cosmic love and the other virtues represented in our name. These tokens radiate powerful protection during times of stress, psychic attack, or when helping others in emotional healing processes. Understanding the lawfulness of how new realities are created is important. Love is necessary to ensure safety in life. The old standard of resisting an enemy with force while invoking negative emotional states inflames fear and makes it more confrontational and dangerous. Military programming, for example, taught recruits watchfulness, wariness, and readiness to instantly react violently. But this heightened paranoia attracted the very situation being resisted. Visualizing and acting out unsafe scenarios becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. A person creates what they concentrate on, especially when there is strong emotion attracting it into form. The ultimate protection is a flow of love that comes from complete identification and merging with the oneness of all that exists. The law of one expresses this awareness and provides the value toward which all people consciously or unconsciously strive in living their daily lives. This is the first law, the law of laws. It is based on universal love and the unified field. All other laws in all dimensions, times, spaces, and realities are subordinate to this law. The law of one is being retaught to humankind at this time to bring about paradise on earth. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are healed. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all, I ask that only what is the highest good of all happen here. I give thanks this is done. So it is. Unconditional, all-encompassing, flowing cosmic love is the only form of protection that collapses resistance in polarities throughout all time and space and harmonizes all energies into one unified tone. Januri, Jenuri.
Okay, now because of a time constraint, I want to just say to your subconscious and superconscious, take all that in, and we're asking that whatever each and every one of us needs to fully integrate that in our own unique way to the point of mastery that occur now. And I want to just give everybody a heads up. Since February of last year, when the North Node of the Moon, which is known in China as the dragon's head, entered Libra, we've had a universal summons to evolve the nature of the way we conduct relationships. However, next month, on November 12th, when the dragon's head leaves Libra and enters Virgo, this field will shift accent from the way we handle relationship to the way we deal with right livelihood. That means we have 3 weeks to clean up relationship karma before the dragon shifts its gaze. While the dragon is still staring into your love nature, the best way to handle relationship karma is to recognize that your main challenges in love come not from your hassles with others, but from unresolved parts of yourself that the other person reflects back to you. These blind spots and disowned pieces of our own nature often don't seem to be ours until we look at love as a karmic mirror showing sides of ourselves to ourselves that we haven't recognized before. When we look at love as a mirror, we may realize that the other person isn't who you have the deeper soul level problem with, so much as you have that problem with the part of ourselves that he or she is revealing to us that we haven't been ready to see. With the dragon's head in Libra during the next 3 weeks, it's time to look at the parts of ourselves that we have scattered throughout the cosmos during lifetimes of reincarnations. And we need to take back our disowned projections onto others. And that has to do with our hearts, because in our hearts we remember subconsciously and superconsciously everything we've ever learned through all lifetimes. And there's easy ways to go back through past lifetimes. I'll teach it sometime on the call. I've done it before on other calls. It's not hard. But whether we do it consciously or not, when I went back through my lifetimes, I've talked to others who've gone through, we've run the gamut. We've been rich, we've been poor, we've been male, we've been female, we've been smart, we've been dumb, we've tilled the earth, we've done everything. We've been the bad guys, the good guys, we've just done it. Each and every one of us in our own way. And when we attract people to ourselves, it's to remind us of whatever it is we need to be reminded of. And if we see good things in them, they're reflecting back to us the good things in ourselves. If we see bad things in them, they're reflecting back to us stuff that we need to remember what we learned about that, so we can get beyond all that dysfunctional self-sabotaging behavior and go into our hearts and create divine love and paradise on earth. A lot of the self-sabotaging behavior we got from our parents, we got it from their parents, we got it from their parents, and then you get into this whole Illuminati thing in Atlantis and Lemuria, which everybody's heard a zillion times, and we definitely don't have time to go into tonight. But I just want to put everybody on notice. You've got a couple more weeks to wrap up your relationship karma. That's with your spouse, your kid, yourself, your mother who died 14 years ago, whatever, animals, nature, whatever issues you have with relationships to the earth, to God, whatever. I mean, just relationship, period, to your own body, to your own self. Relationship goes inward and it goes outward. The inward is your parasympathetic nervous system, the outward is your sympathetic nervous system, and they play off each other. That's the mirror effect. So if you're having issues in your outer relationships, it's because you're having issues with your own self, with parts of yourself. You may have a part of yourself that's really angry, but since good people don't get angry, you've suppressed it all your life, so you attract into your life very angry people. I mean, that's just an extreme example. So maybe you have great people in your life and you're madly in love and you're living in a community where you're in divine nirvana, which means that you've found that within yourself somehow. Maybe you've been doing yoga for all these lifetimes, but somehow you've found nirvana inside yourself, so you're attracting people who are reflecting that nirvana back to you. So what we're hearing here with the Keshe thing is we're, like Marianne read, you're thinking of a baby maturing in seconds. And so we're going through an evolution from, Vietnam, and I remember when I was a kid, I was born in 49, it was like the commies were the problem, right? And if you went out in the country and you were in the Baptist church, then, anyone who wasn't Baptist was a problem. And, if you were a moonshiner, then, everybody had their favorite enemies, right? If you went to the preppy schools, it's like if you didn't wear the right brand shoes and the right brand pocketbooks, then you were the enemy. It just got to the point of the ridiculous where everybody was projecting the enemy onto whatever. It was a circus, and we're going from that into fulfilling the words of Christ where he said, all that I do you shall do, and even more. We're going into total enlightenment. And total enlightenment, it doesn't mean we're going to all go into the sky. That's what you do when you die. The Bible says the last enemy to be overcome is death. I've given you joy and life everlasting. So what would make us want to die is what we have to resolve inside of ourselves. And my suggestion to you is, since we have 3 more years of relationships, is that you blast yourself with love. Stop being mean to yourself. Please stop criticizing yourself. I don't care what your daddy said, or your 3rd grade teacher, or your scout leader. Stop criticizing yourself. That is not a loving thing to do. When you're scared, or you're tired, or you're upset, or you're confused, be nice to yourself, be loving to yourself, and say, oh, I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling these feelings. I'm not going to beat myself over the head about it. I'm going to put my arms around myself and love myself and rock myself until I feel better. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to stop judging myself. I'm going to feel my emotions with love. And the minute you do that, when your neighbor gets upset and angry, or the people across the big pond, you've loved yourself when you're angry. You can love them when they're angry. And we just got talking about the plasma in the heart. And when the heart blasts people with that plasma of love, again, watch the Keshe tape, because plasma will become whatever you send it to. And if instead of sending judgment and criticism and fear, you're sending, I love you no matter what. I don't care what you do. I love you. Why? Because we're all one, and I know you're doing the best you can. You may be scared, angry, whatever, but I know that there's a reason you feel that way, and I'm going to love you because I've felt that way too. And we're all one, and do the law of one. Whatever you have to do to get you out of your head, into your heart, and loving as an act of protection, if nothing else, because it works. The Bible says love conquers all, and it either does or it doesn't. And my suggestion is find out. If you've got a neighbor across the street that you haven't liked for 25 years, and all the judgment hasn't worked, and all the fear hasn't worked, and all this and that and the other hadn't worked, why don't you just meditate quietly and send them love from your heart for, say, a week or two, and see if something doesn't change. And if it doesn't, then obviously love is just another false promise that doesn't work. But what if it does work? What if your father, who died in 1982, who was the terror of your life, you send love to him on the other side for a week or two? And see if that doesn't change all of the emotions inside your psyche. How about the problem kid who's in jail that's just driving you up a wall? Try just loving him the way he is. And loving the jail system too. Love is unconditional. The love will transform everything into being lovable. And that's just what I'm reading here. It's what the science shows drawn below. Heart math, they're all saying. These people that worked at CERN, they had a problem. Because what they realized is that the expectations of the scientists was causing the experiments to be what the expectations were. So they tried taking the scientists around the world, and they discovered that distance didn't matter. And Bruce Lipton did the same thing with DNA. It doesn't matter how far away you are from something in time or space, love will change the outcome. It spins the atoms in a certain way. It's plasma. So my suggestion is you go with both guns blasting, but the guns are guns of love from your heart. And the both guns is you've got a blasting gun of love aimed at yourself, where every thought that comes up, you treat it with love. Every emotion that comes up, you treat it with love. Every situation that comes up, you treat it with love. If you're a heroin addict, instead of condemning yourself for being a heroin addict, love yourself. That's a radical thought, right? If you're a super soldier and you can't control things because you got all this stuff in your brain, love that. Your heart is 5,000 times stronger than your brain, and it's generating plasma, and it should be able to transmute even the metals and the chemicals. Let's see if it works. Marianne, let me give it back over to you. It looks like we have a time issue here. Let me turn it back over to you.
Wow. Cynthia, wow. Thank you. Seriously, this has been a beautiful and wonderful call. I am going to open the lines up for a few minutes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have some comments. Just a minute here. Let me change the mode. Okay, if anybody wants to come in, have a question or a comment, please *6 and come on in.
Hi, this is Sunny, and I just want to thank you for everything you've shared this evening. It's just so beautiful and so meaningful. And would like to ask you to spell out the name of the author of that book that talked about the what happened in '72, so I can look it up.
Yeah, it's. Can you hear me? Am I?
Yes.
Am I open? Okay.
I can hear you.
Let me. It's FR. Wait, did I? No, it's. Hold on, just a minute. Mm-hmm. I'll come back. Let me. I gotta find it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, here it is. I gotta go all the way to the bottom. Okay, it's Bob Frissell, Frissell.
Okay.
And the title of the book is "Nothing in This Book is True, but is exactly how things are." And I found it. Well, you can actually Google this. Jean, and I can't remember what her last name was. She posted this on her site. It's posted April 6, 2014, by Jean, and that's where I got this article. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know this Jean, but that's wonderful because this is the second time I've heard you read it, and it's just incredible. And the first name of this Bob Frissell?
Bob, yes.
Yes, okay.
And it was, let's see here. It was written, well, it's dated June 9th, 2010. Mm. And it's, there's a Kindle edition. It's a 15th anniversary of Random House Incorporated Clients Kindle edition also.
And, of course, that's available on Amazon?
Right.
Yeah, okay, Kindle edition. Yeah, well, that's just really, truly an amazing story, and I really thank you for sharing that twice.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's worth it.
And Cynthia and I, and probably other people, I go back to that, and that's my focal point if I feel uncomfortable and about world events, and that helps me so much, and that's pretty rare right now. So
yeah, just to not fear anything that people are talking about
it's
might happen out there. Yeah, that's wonderful to hear.
But that is, this article that I read is chapter 14. So there's other amazing information like this in that book, under different chapters, I guess. In the book, nothing in this book is true, but exactly how things are.
Well, thank you very much. I wanted to find this information before, but now is the time. So I really appreciate it. I was certainly alive at that time and looking back to see what was going on in my life, if I remember anything unusual. But, yeah, it's just really amazing. Thank you.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in. Anything else you want to add? No.
Well, me, I guess just that everything that Cynthia shares about the astrology is very meaningful to me.
Oh.
And I'd like to get a hold of those books too that she's.
They're on her site, right, Cynthia? The address is on your site.
I don't know. My website hadn't been refreshed for a very long time. If you'll email me, because the books we're reading out of, you can't get on Amazon. The books, you have to email. I can give you the address. It's a retired physicist. He was one of the physicists like Keshe, and he retired fabulously wealthy. And then in the 2008 thing, he lost a fortune. and he is publishing these books. They are hardbound, they're stitched, they're the best paper, they're the highest quality books. They weigh about 5 pounds, they have almost 600 pages, and he's selling them way under cost, basically $28 for a 5-pound book, hardcover, with $5 shipping, but you have to actually contact them. They're not a business. It's a private guy. Mm-hmm. And you have to actually contact him and, send him a check, and then he mails you back the book. And if you will email me, I think the way to get it is on the Diamond blog site.
Okay.
I believe it's on that, but if it isn't, email me at spiritus@mindspring.com. That's SPIRITUS at mindspring.com. But it's probably on the Diamond site. If not, Liz can put it up pretty quick.
And
how to get the book.
I'll just make one more comment that what you said about healing your spine is really, perked my interest, and because I have spine problems right now. So anyway,
that's the letter E. And get the books by Franz Barden. There's 4 of them. Those you can get off Amazon. And I strongly recommend you get the older ones, where they go to. You can click on the option of used. Get the oldest ones. They're the cheapest, but I think they're my favorite. Is the oldest ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very much. Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
It is.
That perked my interest when you mentioned it the first time, and been meaning to write you about that, about the spinal hearing and healing, if I need that myself.
Yeah.
But the
meditate on Deep Purple. And meditate on omnipresence, because that is the divine virtue of the spine. Meditate on being in everything, as everything, and see the deep purple color.
Okay, I will certainly do that.
Okay, good.
Much thanks.
De nada. All right. We'll take one more. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Anybody else have question or comment? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to play.
This is Jolynn, and I would be real happy to just give my heart thanks for everything you've said tonight. I came in an hour after you started, but this has just been a dynamic evening of some great truths, encouragement, and spirit words for everyone that was on the call and many others that will hear it later. And so I am just overjoyed to see the spirit of unity, the truth, and the presence of the Christ image that's come through tonight. And so I just want to say thank you to each one that had a part in this tonight.
Thank you, Jolynn.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, my gosh, what a call. And actually, with everyone on this call, your energy and your vibration and your love, it also made the call what it is. We love you. We thank you. And this is the heart of giving. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
And good night.
Thank you.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.